why is this guy with a Lamborghini in the middle of the desert who's roaming around looking in the desert for stuff? Probably the most fun video destroying something, I would have to say, if you could ever get any enjoyment out of destroying something on your supercar, was I decided to put a ski box on my Lamborghini, which is by no means a new idea, but it was something I always wanted to do. Huracans have very little front storage space, and on long road trips, especially if you have two people, a couple of bags all of a sudden don't end up in the front. You have one bag that fits in the front and one bag ends up somewhere between the passenger's legs. And if you have any more stuff, it ends up on the passenger's lap. So I put this ski box on my car and I did this road trip from Canada all the way down to California. And I ended up in the back straights of some road in the desert of Nevada, still probably about 6 hours outside of Las Vegas, but these beautiful long straight stretches of road. What I used to attach the ski box was these Sea Sucker suction cups. And I wanted to test if they would stay on at anything over the recommended speed, which was only 70 miles an hour. Do not exceed 70 miles an hour. So the whole trip I'd kind of been building my way up to that. You drive for a little bit, you stop, you check the suction cups and make sure everything's mounted. And they have these little pumps on them that when they do start to lose suction, they come out. They have these little red orange markers that you can tell they're losing pressure. And I wasn't losing any pressure for the entire trip. So I kept pushing the boundaries. And eventually I'd already been driving at over 120 miles an hour for hours on end, getting out and checking. They weren't losing pressure. Nothing was having a problem. So I thought, I wonder if I could do a high-speed run. I would love a thumbnail of my car in the desert that says, ski box at 200 miles per hour. So I finally decided to push the limits past 150. And I had this perfect runway, and I put a camera out on this fence that was kind of running along this maybe ranch or this one area. And I put my drone up in the air and I put everything on auto so it would all stay where it was so I could get every angle. And then on the inside, I was gonna put a GoPro in my mouth. I get ready to do the run and I do the run. And I get the car up to about 175 miles an hour. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. This ski box and the suction cups are staying on the roof at 175 miles an hour. I'm going to turn around and run it again back the other way, except for I'm going to exceed 175 and I'm going to go for the 200 mile an hour run. I've gone over 70. Went up to 100. I went to 120. I went to 150. I went to 175. I got 24 miles an hour. I'm going to break the Lamborghini ski box, speed record, land record. I thought this is going to be hilarious. This is so Daily Driven Exotics. And I get in it and I start hammering through the gears. And next thing you know, we're reaching up to 175 again. And I'm like, we got this, no problem. I hit 175 and all you hear is this violent bang. And the ski box obviously had detached from my roof. And on its way exiting the back of the vehicle, had hit the glass engine cover, thankfully not shattering it because it's very expensive, but left a huge scuff mark on the glass, but hit my Vorsteiner carbon fiber wing and bounced off the wing. Actually hit the wing, didn't shatter the wing, bounced off the wing, and it kind of just took, it took off. I was going really fast. So I slowed down and immediately got out to look at my car, and there was still the two suction cup mounts on the roof. The suction cups did not detach from the roof at all. It wasn't the suction cups that failed. It was actually the plastic bracket that holds on to the bar. I'm no wind tunnel testing scientist, but something happened where instead of it being any downforce, the wind was actually pulling the ski box up, and it had actually broken the plastic handle, which, had I really thought about it, I would have known that little tiny metal pin holding a little plastic handle would have been the breaking point. And it had ejected itself at 175 miles per hour off into the sky, bouncing off the road, completely destroying the ski box in a million pieces with, might I add, all my luggage in it, which sent my underwear and my shoes and all of my clothing 100 yards in, no joke, like about a football length field off into the desert. And it took myself and a very nice gentleman and his girlfriend who I'd met on the side of the road who stopped because they were probably like, why is this guy with a Lamborghini in the middle of the desert who's roaming around looking in the desert for stuff? They stopped and actually helped me find my luggage, and it was actually them that found my luggage. It's all documented on a video on my channel. And yeah, so I drove home, back to Las Vegas with a wing that had only, when it hit it, it had just cracked it in the center from the two uprights. And so the wing, if I started doing like even 30 miles an hour, started to go, it made this awful noise. So I flashed and honked at the guy in the Camaro in front of me who helped me find my luggage, who thankfully had a whole bunch of electrician's tape in his car. And we, almost like hockey style, you know, when you hockey tape the end of a stick, we hockey style taped my wing back together, which it actually, because it was black electrician's tape, I didn't think it looked that bad. I thought it was very DDE. It was a great conversation piece. The wing stayed like that until I eventually removed it and completely redid the rear end of my Lamborghini. But since that day, I've never put a ski box back on my car, and I've been thinking about how to do it again, reinforce it, and still go for that 200 mile per hour record run. Then other things that I've wrecked on the Huracan that have been in some of my videos, but your audience may not know, is I had a complete Vorsteiner Novara carbon fiber kit, full front bumper replacement, full rear bumper replacement, side skirts, and the wing. Out of all of those components, the only thing that has not been absolutely destroyed are the side skirts. Well, up until recently. The front bumper was destroyed making a video when it snowed out in my neighborhood, and my car was static but very low, and I thought it'd be fun to go drive the car around in the snow. Unfortunately, in British Columbia, when it snows, we get really wet, heavy snow. And so my car was too low, but I took it out anyhow, and I essentially plowed an entire block of the street to the point where the snow was building up on the front of the bumper and then building up over the snow that had accumulated in the front and coming up over the hood and right up over the window of the car. And what happens is all that weight ends up sagging and pulling the all the brackets that hold your bumper in place. And so it completely demolished all the brackets. It had this huge gap after that. It ruined all of the little grills that are in the front to protect the AC condensers and the little radiators and whatnot, which also folded all the fins over on the radiators and stuff. And then shortly after that, I hit something on the road and it cracked the carbon fiber. And after that, it was just gone. It slowly started to basically disintegrate, as well as the bumper was made in the first place. It had just taken such a beating that it destroyed that $10,000 MSRP from carbon bumper. I later then, on a trip up a mountain in the snow, ironically, wanted to do some donuts in a parking lot in a mountain. And in the snow, you don't really see where the divots are. The white all kind of just blends in. And I started to do some donuts at a relatively low speed, but I hit a big divot and the car went down and you could just hear everything scraping on the ice and the snow. And it was quite a hard, packed surface. So something, a chunk of ice or something had caught the rear diffuser and literally held it from the bottom underneath while the car kept moving forward, and it completely shattered and separated the diffuser from the bumper, which was all one piece. My exhaust tips were all stuck in there, and it was dragging behind the car for about 10 or 15 feet while my friend who was in the parking lot was frantically waving his arms to get me to stop. We luckily just kind of kicked the last little bit of the carbon off and removed the diffuser, drove the car back home that night with our our tails between our legs, but what we thought was an interesting video of, yet again, unfortunately, through these weird places we take the cars, destroying this poor car one piece at a time.
I loved the way the Avalon King ceramic coating worked on my Porsche 993, so I was excited to try it out on my LP640. We put a clear bra on the car, but then on top of that, we put the ceramic coating to make it easier to clean. And after a 2,000-mile road trip, all the bugs just sprayed right off. It worked great on my car, and you should try it on yours, so there's a link in the description below for a discount.